So Pastor Paul Begley is back on track, and he says that it's God's will for Trump to bomb Iran. He's God's servant, Trump is. He's doing God's will, apparently, by bombing innocent civilians and people in a foreign country. That's God's will, according to Pastor Paul Begley. Why? Because he supports the regime. He supports the Antichrist system. He supports the powers that be, because his idol, Donald Trump, is in office. He also says that it's prophetic. Everything about Donald Trump, he's the 47th president and this and that lines up with Iran, and he was born on Flag Day, idolizing this man who is bringing in the Antichrist system right in front of our face, while every other person who follows this guy, Trump, they will lay out everything in front of you. I just saw another guy saying, look, the beast system is on track to bring in the digital ID and the digital currency system for an hour long, and doesn't once mention Trump, because this guy is a right-wing, Trump-loving guy. Israel first. We love Israel. Trump is doing things for Israel, therefore he can't be the Antichrist. Are you serious? You realize the Antichrist does everything for Israel, right? You do realize that, right? The Antichrist is the savior of Israel for them. It's going to be their Messiah. Man, the brainwashing that the church has done on these people is outrageous. It's really well done. They literally brainwash you to support their Antichrist system and the people that are bringing in the Antichrist system for the very reason that they're protecting the very system and doing the thing. It's like, you can't make this stuff up. Paul Begley sits there and says that Trump being almost assassinated, first he brings up the high priest. He starts talking about the high priest of Israel, how he was, and this is how you know Paul Begley he's paid. He's paid by Israel. There's no doubt. He's paid by the Jews. I'm sorry, I just got to say it what it is. He's a wolf. He's a wolf in sheep's clothing. And I called him out in his chat. And of course they have their chat bots, pulling people out, their chat security, right? He's a wolf. Okay? If you can sit there and beg for war, and that's God's will, and that's not God, and bringing in the Antichrist system, and Trump is doing everything for Israel, and then you're going to sit there and say that the high priest, okay, was initiated with blood on his right ear, his right thumb, and his right toe, and then when Donald Trump was shot, he had blood on his right ear and his foot. Now I know you're part of the system, Pastor Paul Begley, because we all knew that before you said it. We knew it before your wolf ass said it. We knew that this was a satanic ritual, the fake assassination of Trump, to make him seem and be initiated as the high priest of the satanic synagogue of Satan that is bringing the Antichrist in Israel with the third temple. Reread the Bible. It's all right there in front of you. He's the one who's going to get to build the temple, do everything for the Jews, do everything for Israel. But the church is convincing you that as Christians, we're supposed to support that. We're supposed to support Israel. When we know that the Antichrist is the one who is the savior of Israel. Yes, in the higher sense, at the very end of it, we know that the true Israelites will come back. Do we know for sure that the Jews right now are the true Israelites? We don't. Okay? We don't. And if you say that, that's anti-Semitic. No, we just don't know. That's a fact. They can't prove it, that they're the true Jews. Ask them, they'll admit it. The second temple, once it was burned, the record of the people was burnt. We don't know who is who. Black people are going around saying that they're the true Jews, but not one of these churches will say, yeah, maybe. Well, guess what I say? Maybe. I don't know. We don't know who the true Jews are. We don't know who the true Israelites are. Nor are we supposed to. Nowhere in the Bible does it say, you must support the true people, and if you don't, God's going to... This is bullcrap. They use those scriptures and they twist them way out of proportion. The verses that say that stuff, we're talking about the theocracy in the Old Covenant, when we knew who was who, and God's voice was there, and we had prophets. We are way far beyond that point. Any group of people could rise up and claim that they're God's chosen people, and that's my land, and you Christians, you better support me. And guess what? That's what they did. That's what they did. And you dumbasses are supporting it. Look, if you support Israel, you are blind to the true nature of end-time prophecy. Okay? You might get 90% right, but you're not going to get the full picture if you're supporting Israel. And if you think the Jews are God's chosen people, XYZ. Okay. I read Revelation. I don't see where God protects Israel. I see the opposite. Okay. It's the time of Jacob's trouble. Israel, meaning the Jews who take the land on force. The world hates them, sure, but eventually they bring in their person who we know is the Antichrist, and they rule the world, and they create the beast system. And the Antichrist is Jewish. Yes, he's not Muslim. And then you read about Jacob's trouble. Jerusalem will be ravished, right? God's wrath is falling on Israel and falling on the world. The places where it says Israel will be protected supernaturally by God, that's all from the Old Testament, from Isaiah, etc., etc. We don't know exactly what that means. My view, more and more increasingly so, is that that's talking about the very end, after the 1,000 years of peace, after the millennial reign, when Jerusalem is dwelling in peace. It says they will be unwalled, it will be a fire, and God will be protecting them. And when all the nations come against them, that God will rain down fire. Doesn't that sound like the end of Revelation? After the millennial reign, when the people of God are in Jerusalem? Yes, that's what I believe that is. It says they will be living peacefully. When in the tribulation will Jerusalem be peaceful? The answer is never. Some people say in the first 3.5 years. That's what I used to believe. Well, I guess the first 3.5 years is going to be like a false peace and security. And that's when they'll be living without walls. Do you think really that Israel is going to have no walls? Right now they have huge walls, huge borders, huge border patrols. They don't allow just anybody in. You think they're going to change that? Of course not. It's the exact opposite. The Antichrist is going to come in. The Bible tells us that they make a covenant with death. They turn their back on the God of Israel. They already have. They've already turned their back on Jesus, and they're going to do it even more to the utmost extent when they accept the Antichrist, bring him in, and the whole world will worship their God and their leader. It's the Jews' God who does it. Okay? Talk to Jewish people who believe in the Messiah, who don't believe in Jesus. What do they say? The Messiah is going to come. He's going to destroy all enemies. He's going to protect Israel, and everybody will bow and worship to him. Hello? What does that sound like? Sounds like the Antichrist to me. It is the Antichrist. But people are so blinded by what the church has taught them. Okay? And this isn't hate. I'm not hating anybody. This is what the Bible says. This is fact. But they use the same tactic that the government does to shut down thought and freedom of thought and have you understand stuff. They call you a racist. They call you anti-Semite. They call you all this fear stuff. But people are waking up and they don't care anymore. More and more people are wanting the truth, don't care about the labels, and they say, call me whatever you want. This is what it is. This is what it is. Okay? So when the fake assassination attempt happened, and I saw the blood on here, and then as soon as he went down, he says, where's my shoe? I knew right away. They're doing a false ritual, a false, fake assassination attempt. It wasn't real. It was a high satanic ritual to christen Donald Trump as their high priest to bring in the third temple. And he will. I'm sure he will. And that's why he had to have blood here. And also, when he goes down, the first thing he says is, where are my shoes? I was wondering, why is he saying, where are my shoes? What is it? Nobody can explain. Nobody ever talks about it or thinks about it. But the people who knew understood that blood has to hit his foot too, on his right toe. Okay? This was a satanic, false ritual. It was a real ritual, but a false assassination. Okay? And I saw videos of Hasidic Jewish men celebrating right after Donald Trump was fake assassinated. Right? He probably had a blood packet back here and he smacked. Why else? When the bullet goes by, he smacks his ear. You don't see any blood on him until he comes up after he smacks his ear. Why are you smacking your ear if you got shot? Because there's a blood capsule back there and you had to pop it. The guy was part of WWE. I mean, it's not rocket science here. If you're not blind enough to not see, to just see it, right? If your love of Trump and your political leanings doesn't blind you to the facts in front of your eyes, and Paul Begley is saying that he got saved. To some extent, he's saying that he didn't say he got saved, but he said it was a miracle. Oh, it was a miracle that God saved him. No, the whole thing was planned. It wasn't a real assassination attempt. It was to christen him as the high priest of the Antichrist system, of the beast system, of the temple, to bring it in. I knew that ever since it's happened. And now Paul Begley finally shows his true colors and says, yeah, it's true. He was christened because he's on their side. He's on the Antichrist side. If we said it was anti-Semitic, how dare you say that the Jews are behind this and Israel's behind this and they're doing this to bring in and then you just said it. You said the same exact thing. You just don't know that who's behind it, or you do and they're paying you $7,000 a post because we know that they're doing that. Israel is paying people $7,000 a post to go after Candace Owens, to go after Tucker Carlson, and to be pro-Israel, including the actual organized churches. Okay, it's been revealed. Everybody knows it. It's out there. You can look into it. It's researched. It's researchable. It's there. They're doing it. They just flew out a bunch of other, right? Thousands of pastors to Israel to convince them how to speak and how to brainwash the masses, as if they haven't done it enough. They're doing a really great job. But guess what's happening? The younger people, the younger generation, see through your crap. They have TikTok. They see the reels of what's going on in Gaza. They can see it with their own eyes. They say this is evil. I don't care if the churches say that that's God's will that babies in Gaza die. That don't feel like God's will to me. That don't feel right to me. That feels like Antichrist. If anything, it is Antichrist. And what's going on with ICE and the police officers? They've been trained by Israel. The knee in the neck, the illegal chokeholds that they're doing, shooting people in the middle of the street and then not letting them get medical help. Israel's been doing that for years. I remember hearing stories of that. Israel would shoot people in Gaza, they'd be dying, and then the medics would come and they would refuse the medics from seeing them. And I thought that's one of the most evil things I've ever heard in my life. Okay? This is what they've been doing, and now they're doing it on the streets of America, and you find out that Israel has been training our police, training ICE to do this stuff to American citizens. Now Trump says he's going to send 1,500 more troops down there. Troops who are trained for like combat warfare from not domestic, but foreign enemies. These are army guys, and he's putting them on our own citizens. And the Christian people are saying he's God's chosen one. He's God's chosen one while he's having civilians be killed in the middle of the street and backing the people who are doing it. Sick times, man. Sick times. And then Begley says, you were born for a time such as now. To what? To support Trump? How dare you? How dare you support this stuff, man? This is evil, wicked, the most wicked we've ever seen. Barren, right in front of your eyes, and the churches are supporting it. They just had a church in Minneapolis where a bunch of protesters, people were protesting ICE. They found out that supposedly there was somebody on the clergy or one of the pastors or something in this church in Minnesota. They were part of ICE. So this big crowd comes in and starts protesting in the middle of the church service on Sunday. Guess what I say? Good for them. Good for them. Finally, the church gets a little uncomfortable. These people that have been supporting all kinds of wickedness. Finally, maybe you should listen to what your people are saying. They ain't listening to us. And the people in the town where the church is, they come in, they say, this is what we're dealing. This is what we feel. You ain't listening. Now we're shouting. Now you listen. Now you shut up. You sit your ass down, pastor. You sit your ass down and you listen to us. You listen to the people. We pay your bills. You work for us, just like the politicians work for us. But they've convinced us the exact opposite, to be afraid of them. And people are not afraid anymore. Guess what? ICE is afraid. There are lots of videos coming out of ICE, hidden recordings. They're terrified. They're like, and they're threatening people. After Renee Good was shot, they're going to people and said, didn't you learn? When people are protesting coming out against them, they say, didn't you learn from what happened? In other words, we're trying to use intimidation that you're supposed to bow down to us since we killed somebody. You're supposed to be afraid of us. Guess what? It's not working. It's the opposite. They're not afraid. They know. They saw the video where she got shot and they're still showing up. They're not afraid. And guess what's happening? ICE is now afraid. And that's coming out. Many ICE people are quitting. One guy just killed himself, left a note. He said, I can't deal with it. People are doxing them. It's hard to get ICE members to sign up, and they're giving them like $30,000 bonuses, right? But you don't get the bonus fully until you complete it, and you have to pay it back if you don't complete it. So now you know where some of this stuff is coming from. But it's not nice for ICE, man. Like, I understand ideologically, a lot of these people believe in it, and there's a lot of bad stuff going on. There's a lot of SA going on with ICE members, with people, women, children, etc. Right? There's a lot of bad stuff. But at the same time, and ideologically, some people are like this, some people, whatever. But at the same time, they're humans, right? They have their family to feed. They have whatever they want, whatever they're dealing with. And they're being doxxed. They're being fought back on. This is not fun. Well, how are the troops going to feel when they're sent down to Minneapolis? And they got to fire on their own people, potentially. You think that's going to feel good? Eventually, man, people are going to they are starting to wake up and see this for what it is. But the pastors are the worst. They're the wolves. They're the ones who are doing this and having people support this crap. So God bless those people who came into the church and just wanted to speak. They didn't hurt anybody. They say, we're using our First Amendment. Oh, it's private property. Oh, well. Some of those people protesting were probably part of the church. You are supposed to, you work for us, right? The churches work for us. We pay your damn salaries. So the pastor should sit down and shut the F up and listen to what the people want to say. I mean, they should have been doing that to begin with, right? What do you guys think? What do you need? I'm here for you. This whole system is corrupt. Finally, people are waking up. It's starting to be topsy-turvy. Yeah, they're going to slam it down. Yeah, the beast system will win. But you're going to have people protesting it. And this actually gives me hope for people once the Antichrist system does come in, that they're going to wake up and see this. I think a lot of people will be coming to the true Christ. The true Jesus, who was going against authority, who was all about sticking up to authority and calling out truth, right? Speaking truth to power. That's what Jesus was all about. He flipped the tables. They don't like that Jesus. It's funny because they'll make fun of us. Oh, you believe in a hippie loving Jesus who loves everybody and helps immigrants and helps the homeless. And yeah, that's what he did. Dumbass. Oh, you're a liberal. You're a hippie. You're a commie. No, actually, I just read the Bible and understood what Jesus did. I'm just trying to do what Jesus did. And I believe what Jesus believed in. Jesus never said bomb foreign countries, bomb children, bomb babies, kill toddlers. Yay. That's very Christian. No, you're part of the effing Antichrist system. You're Antichrist. If you believe that, you're supporting Antichrist. It is what it is. You might be saved, but you're supporting Antichrist. Right? You just see that stuff. You know what it is. The world knows what it is. And Paul Begley is supporting this crap. Yeah, God chose Trump. Trump is doing everything right. As I said, man, if you support Israel, you're not going to see it fully what's going on right in front of you. Everybody's free to do whatever they want. Believe in Jesus. He died for you. He rose again. Saved by your faith. Let's keep talking about this. A lot going on, guys. I'll talk to you soon. Peace and blessings.